First at noon, tensions are reaching a boiling point in Minneapolis after a federal agent shot a man during an attempted stop yesterday. President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act in response to the unrest. Shaquille Brewster has the latest.
Hi there. Well, the situation here in Minneapolis is increasingly tense, and conversations that I've been having with folks here, there's a fear that it's only going to get worse, that there's going to be more arrests during this increased immigration enforcement and more clashes as people come out and show that they don't like what they're seeing on the ground. Similar to what we saw yesterday when you had a completely residential neighborhood just overtaken by tear gas, flashbangs, pepper spray after another shooting involving a federal agent. DHS says officers were trying to enforce an arrest against a Venezuelan immigrant. They say that a struggle ensued, that this agent was attacked and ambushed by two other individuals who came out of a house. That's what led to a shot ultimately being fired. That situation is now being investigated. We know not just by ICE, but also by state agencies that we saw at the scene going through and poring over evidence in that area. We know President Trump this morning referenced the increase in violence that we're seeing, saying and threatening that he may invoke the Insurrection Act that he says would allow him to bring federal troops here to stop the protests and, in his words, protect ICE agents. And we know Minnesota's governor on social media today making a direct appeal to the president, asking him to turn down the temperature, and also talking to Minnesota residents, saying that now is not the time to fan the flames that we've been seeing. So really tense moments that we have here in Minneapolis, concerned that we are just another incident away from another flare-up, all more than a week after Renee Nicole Good was killed by an ICE officer right here in this location. Back to you.
That's Shaquille Brewster reporting. Hawaii Representative Jill Tokuda, meanwhile, is part of an effort to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem as the outrage over Renee Good's death continues. Tokuda is one of 70 co-sponsors for articles of impeachment introduced yesterday. The articles allege Noem violated the Constitution by ordering ICE to use violence and conduct warrantless arrests, and that she bypassed the bidding process for a $200 million ad campaign. Hawaii Congressman Ed Case is not among the co-sponsors. Here at home, a 22-year-old man was shot multiple times in Ewa Beach, and the gunman is still on the run. It happened at Ewa Beach Community Park. HPD officers were called there at around 9:45 last night on reports of possible gunshots and a large fight taking place. We're told the wounded man was rushed to the hospital, but the extent of his injuries is unclear. Police are now searching for a suspect only described as a male. If you have any information that could help, call 911 or Honolulu Crime Stoppers at 955-8300. An attempted murder case in the Makiki area. A 22-year-old man is in custody after police say he cut another man several times with a weapon. It happened at around 11 last night on Kilauea Street. The 30-year-old victim was rushed to the hospital, and at last check, he was in serious condition. A new kind of danger for families as digital characters become increasingly popular companions for teens. AI chats have led to suicides and other violence around the country. Lynn Kawano has more.
The computer-generated discussions ranged from romantic to sexual to violent. But what can lawmakers actually do about it?
The conversations may be fake, but the dangers are real.
Okay, reconvening this.
Hawaii lawmakers are searching for ways to protect people from AI programs that allow teens to interact with virtual characters. It was the topic of a briefing for the state Senate's Consumer Protection Committee.
Open market chatbots present unprecedented risks where unregulated AI can act as a digital predator.
The Department of Education says they are working to help staff, students, and parents navigate this new space. State Senator Jared Keohokalole shared transcripts of a conversation between a Hawaii girl and a chatbot. The 12-year-old was role-playing as an anime superhero. In just minutes, the digital character started using inappropriate words and phrases.
These apps are meant for adults and they have mature content, but if your children are bypassing the notices and going and engaging, that they could potentially be interacting with AI chatbots who aggressively pursue or even groom the users.
Predatory algorithms and grooming on platforms like Character AI, and instances where bots from apps like Grok have engaged in suicide coaching by bypassing basic safety guardrails.
Lawsuits across the country have been filed against AI companies after teens committed suicide following chat conversations, and some in Congress are looking at strict federal legislation. Hawaii lawmakers plan to introduce bills this upcoming session to better restrict and monitor use by those under 18.
It's about making sure that companies that come into Hawaii and provide these types of services understand that we're going to expect they treat minors appropriately.
Legislation will be introduced after the session starts next Wednesday. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Lynn. An Oahu man will serve 6.5 years in federal prison for trafficking an opioid 100 times more potent than fentanyl. Travis Hong Ani pled guilty to charges of possessing and distributing carfentanil. The 36-year-old was arrested back in 2023 after he sped from a traffic stop. He later admitted to smuggling drugs into Hawaii through the mail. His sentence also includes 5 years of supervised release. The drug treatment facility Aloha House is expanding on Maui as the need for this type of care continues to rise after the 2023 wildfire disaster. Chelsea Davis shows us around their Makauao campus.
A blessing at Aloha House signals a new beginning for people battling addiction. Maui's only nonprofit licensed residential substance use treatment facility will soon open a new dormitory, bringing hope and healing.
This dormitory will provide safe, supportive spaces for 12 individuals, allowing us to expand care for those most vulnerable in our community, people struggling with addiction, mental health challenges, and homelessness. Half of the population we serve here at Aloha House are homeless.
Aloha House has been serving the people of Maui since 1977, averaging 325 clients a year.
This new dorm will be up and running on March 1st, and it will be able to house 12 people aimed for an extended stay because they say the longer the treatment, the better the outcome.
We have a subacute medically managed detox unit.
The Upcountry campus is unlike any other in the state. It includes a detox center, evidence-based therapies, and personalized recovery plans, providing a full continuum of mental health and substance use treatment.
They provide the emergency services for folks that are in need right at that moment. So again, all of this, what it does is it contributes to strengthening the well-being of our entire community.
Officials here say in the aftermath of the 2023 fires, substance use and mental health challenges have surged on Maui, and they're seeing a growing demand for recovery services across the community. This new 5-bedroom dorm increases their capacity by 25%.
For me, this work is personal. I grew up on Molokai, where resources are limited and stigma can feel heavy. And as a person in recovery myself, I stand here not only as a clinician, but as someone who understands the courage it takes to ask for help, the power of having a place that says, you belong, you deserve to heal. This new dormitory represents that promise.
To learn more about Aloha House, go to hawaiinewsnow.com. Reporting in Makauao, I'm Chelsea Davis for Hawaii News Now.
Hawaii home insurance rates have jumped up 54% over the past year. That's according to a new state consumer and commerce report. Experts say the increases are mainly due to the Maui wildfires and other disasters. With that in mind, legislation is being proposed to allow Hawaii's Attorney General to sue fossil fuel companies if climate-related disasters cause property insurance hikes.
If state resources are being used to insure and cover claims for climate-created disasters, then we should allow the Attorney General's office to go and seek reimbursement from the companies that knowingly polluted the environment, knowingly caused climate impacts, and are really the cause behind these disasters.
Opening day of the legislature is next week, Wednesday. Let's take you live now to Kilauea, where the impact of a series of shallow earthquakes at the summit is still unclear. USGS says the earthquakes below the Halemaumau crater began at around 7:30 last night and continued for 40 minutes. It's the third swarm since episode 40 ended on Monday. More than 50 earthquakes have been recorded at the summit this week, all of them under magnitude 2. Scientists say there's no evidence that magma is migrating away from the summit, and the east and southwest rift zones remain quiet.
Thank you very much. On this Thursday, let's go ahead and take a look at what we are tracking for you with your first alert weather. We got a cold front that's moving through the state overnight. It dropped showers on Kauai, on Oahu, and then, of course, this morning, Maui County, and it's moving towards Hawaii Island. It's actually doing that now as we speak. High surf warning also in effect. We'll give you a look at the numbers coming up in just a couple of moments right here on Hawaii News Now. Once again, cold front moving through the state.
Thank you, Billy. Federal prosecutors announced criminal charges today against 26 people, including former college basketball players, for allegedly ripping games over a span of 3 years. Gwen Baumgartner reports from Los Angeles.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in eastern Pennsylvania announced charges Thursday against dozens of people they accused of rigging or trying to rig more than 29 NCAA basketball games, including this February 2024 matchup between SUNY Buffalo and Western Michigan.
We allege an extensive international criminal conspiracy.
Prosecutors say former NBA player Antonio Blakeney and 2 fixers started a point-shaving conspiracy in China in 2023 before expanding to the NCAA, where more than 39 players took part.
They would bribe said player to deliberately underperform so that his team would lose by more than they were favored to. They would bet for them to not cover the point spread.
According to the indictment, the bribes usually range from $10,000 to $30,000 per game, spanning playoff and championship games, with the last game just over a year ago.
The crimes alleged in today's indictment are not victimless. This was a calculated scheme designed to manipulate outcomes, deceive fans, corrupt athletes, and undermine credibility.
Prosecutors say players on 17 different Division I men's basketball teams were involved, including from Tulane, LaSalle, and DePaul. This is the latest betting scandal to rock the sports world. In October, the FBI announced the arrest of dozens of people, including current NBA players and a coach, in connection to alleged gambling schemes. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Ahead on This Is Now, President Trump meets with Venezuela's opposition leader, who claims to be the rightful leader of the country. Plus, a traveling tribute to our nation's Vietnam veterans is on Oahu for the very first time. Casey Lund tells us where you can see it in 2 minutes. Welcome back. President Trump met with Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who had been in hiding for 16 months. Meanwhile, tensions still high in Iran and no definitive answer if the president will carry out military actions against that country. Monica Alba has more from Washington.
Out of hiding and back in the public eye, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado had lunch with President Trump at the White House today, pushing to be that country's next leader in the aftermath of Nicolas Maduro's arrest. The ousted president sits in a New York jail. But so far, Trump has sidelined Machado, saying he doesn't think she's ready to lead. Still, Machado does have the support of Florida Republican lawmakers.
Oh my God, she's going to prove... she's going to definitely show who she is. She is the legitimate member. She's the legitimate leader of the opposition in Venezuela. She proved it. She earned it.
After Maduro's arrest, Trump said the U.S. would run Venezuela until a, quote, safe transition can be made. Delcy Rodriguez, a Maduro loyalist,
como vicepresidenta ejecutiva,
is now interim president, and Trump has praised her as someone the U.S. can work with.
She's a terrific person. We had a long call. We discussed a lot of things, and I think we're getting along very well with Venezuela.
Today's meeting comes on the same day the U.S. seized another oil tanker linked to Venezuela, the Veronica. The Department of Defense says it was carrying sanctioned oil. This is the sixth oil tanker seized by the U.S. And Venezuela isn't the only international issue on the president's plate. Tensions still high in Iran, though now the country's judiciary said it would not go ahead with planned executions. Activists say more than 2,500 have died in the violence of the weeks-long demonstrations. The president had threatened to step in if Iran went through with the execution and told NBC News in a phone call, quote, "We saved a lot of lives yesterday." But it's still not clear if the president will take any military action in response to the violent crackdown. One more note about Maria Corina Machado's visit. She won the Nobel Peace Prize last year, and President Trump has been very vocal that he believes he should have won it. She has praised him and even offered to potentially share the prize, but the Nobel Institute says it cannot be transferred, shared, or revoked. Monica Alba, NBC News, Washington.
Here at home, this is a chance for veterans and families to reflect day or night at a memorial that carries deep meaning for Hawaii. The Wall That Heals is now open in West Oahu, honoring more than 58,000 lives lost in the Vietnam War. Casey Lund gives us a look at this powerful tribute and tells us when you can go see it.
Well, this traveling memorial, 3/4 of the size of the National Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C., is open 24 hours a day here at UH West Oahu. These early morning, late night hours, they're when most veterans find the most peace, the most time to reflect and be with those they lost. And if you get a chance to interact with them while they're here, you'll understand why.
23, 24, and my cousin is right down here, Gary Freeman. And it's been over 50 years. You can't contain it. It just happens.
Eddie Freeman served 2 tours in Vietnam as a U.S. Marine.
I'm not a crybaby at all. I very rarely shed a tear, but this is part of my healing. So I accept this, and I'm sorry that you can't understand how I feel, why I feel, but this is what I wanted this to be in Hawaii.
For decades, he rarely spoke about the war, even with the woman who would eventually become his wife.
What about your wife? Tell me about your wife. You guys have a unique story. Let's change the subject.
Oh man. Susan, she's a character. But in the 60s, of course, she was one of those protesting people. I mean, I didn't have any idea about joining the service and doing that thing. But she actively protested to the point where I don't think she got arrested, but she was definitely threatened about being arrested.
2 people on opposite sides of one of the most divisive wars in American history eventually built a life together. But it wasn't until they volunteered with The Wall That Heals that the conversations truly began.
We had differing perspectives of the war, I should say, and Eddie never really talked about the war at all until we went to Hilo. And then that changed everything and changed my attitude as well. Those service members, veterans, were never welcomed home. If anything, they were discouraged everywhere they went. And so now we're welcoming them all home.
Together, Eddie and Susan volunteered when the wall came to Maui and the Big Island, asking one question over and over again.
We volunteered on the Big Island and Maui, questioned to ourselves, why did it never come to Oahu? And then just made it a mission to bring it here.
Some people still live in Vietnam in their mind, and this is the only way that that's going to change and they can be real and be whole again. This is part of the therapy right here, what we're doing. It's not about the crowd or people that you're in or whatever. It's having time and space to, I'm not going to say relive it, but that's part of it too.
Whether you have a loved one on this wall or not, if you have the opportunity, I highly recommend you come and spend some time here. This wall will only be here until the 19th. Reporting in Kapolei, I'm Casey Lund for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Case. And there is a Hometown Heroes ceremony tonight at 5 p.m. and you can visit the wall 24/7, day or night. All right, here's a live look outside at Aloha Tower. Billy V's going to have your full forecast coming up in 2 minutes.
First Alert Weather with Billy V.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead and give you your first alert weather for your Thursday. First of all, let's concentrate on the ocean. Small craft advisory in effect for all Hawaiian waters due to the gusty winds both in front of and behind the cold front, and of course associated with the storms right with the cold front and the heavy showers. We also got a high surf advisory in effect for the west side of Hawaii Island and a high surf warning in effect for the north and west facing shorelines. Here's what we got. 20 to 30 foot surf is what you're seeing right now here in the midday out there in the ocean. 18 to 24 feet on the west side, but that's going to get bigger by tonight, and then it's going to start to drop off tomorrow. So we're not going to have that prolonged swell that we need for the eddy. But by the way, these numbers are of course too small, but if it was, we would need it prolonged, coming in from the right direction, and we needed it a whole lot bigger. Everything else is smaller than that on the board. Let's take a look at what to expect now. The cold front has passed, so today Kauai will get sunshine, stable weather, cooler temperatures, those northerly winds behind the front. Oahu's got clearing conditions, partly sunny skies, some clouds here and there, but for the most part it's moving off towards Maui. Now, Maui had some rain a little bit earlier. It's still got some rain in places, mostly going to be up country and over on the Hana side as it pushes into the Alinui-Haha Channel. And then Hawaii Island, you're going to have rain throughout the afternoon into this evening. So once again, the showers, the cold front, it's moving from Maui towards the east, towards Hawaii Island. So also up on the upper slopes and summit areas of Mauna Kea, Mauna Loa, there's also going to be some wind advisories as well. That's what you can expect. That is your first alert weather right here on This Is Now.
Thank you, Billy. Still to come, a new study sheds light on a horse's ability to smell fear. We'll be right back. So a new study says horses may really be able to smell our fear. Researchers exposed horses to samples of body odor taken from people when they were scared, happy, and neutral. They found the horses' behavior changed based on what they smelled. Odors collected from people watching something scary caused horses to startle more easily and made them less likely to approach people or check out unfamiliar objects. And that makes us wonder what the horse was smelling in this case.
Whoa.
The horse is not listening to Casey.
Whoa. We gotta stay on this.
Turn around. Oh no, are you going into the woods? Do you remember that? That's when Casey was sent to the Hawaii Polo Club. Anyway, this video lives on forever. It's so good. Thank you everybody for watching. This is Now, more news first at 4 right here on KCHNL.